Unless you live under a rock, it's not news to you that Halloween is coming up. And what combines jump scares in video games? Horror games. So here are the top 5 horror games you should play in celebration for the best holiday of the year. The first one I want to recommend is Outlast. So if you don't know, Wikipedia describes Outlast as a first-person survival horror game. The game revolves around a freelance investigative journalist who decides to investigate a remote psychiatric hospital situated deep in the mountains of Lake County, Colorado. This game is a legitimate horror game. It's going to scare you and it's going to make you scared. And that's exactly what it's supposed to do. And obviously this means it's a good game for what it is. The sequel is supposed to come out in Q1 of 2017, so this will be a great time to catch up and play the sequel when it comes out in a few months. Coming at number 4, we have The Evil Within. Wikipedia describes The Evil Within as a third-person survival horror game that centers on the protagonist Sebastian Castellanos as he's pulled through the story worlds of nightmarish locations and horrid creatures. Players battle against disgustified and nightmarish-like enemies, including bosses using guns, melee weapons, and progress through the levels avoiding traps using stealth and finding collectibles. This game was one of the games that were supposed to bring back horror to what horror originally was, and it did. This game was highly reviewed and ended up doing really well. It is published by Bethesda, so it is a really, really high game. Like, on the scale of like 1 to 10, it's up there with Fallout 4, it's up there with Skyrim. It's a really well made game. The game, at least in my opinion, is very terrifying. It's intense and mostly psychologically terrifying, but terrifying nonetheless. Coming in at number 3, we have Layers of Fear. Now this game came out in February of this year, so it's definitely the newest game on this list. Wikipedia describes it saying that Layers of Fear, that players control a psychologically disturbed painter trying to complete his magnum opus as he navigates through a Victorian mansion with disturbing secrets. The gameplay is presented in a first-person perspective. It's heavily story-driven and revolves mostly around puzzle-solving and exploration, as the game intensifies after each level while jump scares occur more often. It's kind of a weird premise, but it works really well, and I think this game really delivers. I fully recommend this one. The Dead Space series is something I've actually never played. However, I have talked to friends and seen gameplay, and it looks scary. It's mostly reliant on jump scares, but it works. It also has a cool setting. While other horror games are set in mansion or in the woods, Dead Space is actually set in space. Shocking, I know. The Dead Space series has one of the most infamous horror scenes of all time, the scene where the character is getting his eye poked into. This game is very well made, and it's published by EA, and it's probably one of the only horror games EA has made in the past while, and it holds up. It really does. I think this original game came out in like 2006 or 2008, and it holds up. It's a good game, and if you want a horror game set in a weird setting that's not like other horror games, pick up Dead Space. Coming in at number 1, we have Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Now, Amnesia is set in the 1800s, and that makes it the oldest setting on this list, but there's one reason this game is number 1. Ideally, everyone who uses Steam has this game. It was free to download and keep a while back, and if you used Steam at the time, you should have this game. And it's a good game too. Amnesia was probably the game that kickstarted the modern horror genre, and inspired games like Outlast and Soma. I consider this the father of the modern horror games, so why not spend Halloween playing one of the originals? Games like this really kickstarted what horror games are today, you know. Evil Within was heavily based on this, like you can just tell. Outlast was definitely based on this, you can tell. It gave inspiration to so many new games that have become popular. It really is one of the originals of the modern horror genre, and I think that you would not be disappointed if you played this on Halloween night. I got a bonus for you. If you're a PS4 player, you should pick up Until Dawn. The game is a PS4 exclusive and ended up being one of the better games of 2015, and definitely one of the best horror games of 2015. It's morally demanding, as you literally choose who will live and who will die. So check it out if you want a horror game on your PlayStation 4. With that, my name has been Z-Star. I hope you enjoyed this list, and if you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, go ahead and give it a thumbs down, but do me a favor, tell me why you didn't like it. I've been getting a lot more dislikes than likes recently, and I really want to know what you guys don't like about this. Give me some comments below, tell me what you guys want me to improve on. Thank you in advance, and I'll see you guys in the next video.